I will be ably assisting this morning. Now I'm ready. I will take on the new skills this morning because I've got an absolute gem here in the kitchen with me. Fatima Saib is here. She's going to join us in the kitchen to whip up a delicious, quick, I like that, easy dessert that is perfect for the month of Ramadan. So whether you're prepping for iftar or maybe you're looking for a fuss-free sweet treat just to enjoy with loved ones, this recipe is a crowd pleaser. It looks exquisite. Fatima, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Very, very good. Sending you nothing but love and blessings at this time. I know there's a lot going on in your world. Are you managing to keep your feet? Because this must be a crazy time for you.
I think so.
we try. And this is when we rely on those absolute favorites. Because with something like this, it's not just food. There is an emotional component, there is a social component, there is a cultural component. This means so much to so many people. I'm not just talking about this dish specifically, but you're entering into a space now which is quite treasured. So we tread lightly. That being said, we don't want it to be scary and intimidating. So talk us through what we're going to be creating this morning.
Of course. So today we are making a 5-ingredient rose and cardamom mousse. And that's like all my favorite words in like one piece.
I think a lot of people just stopped what they were doing, put down their books or their TV remotes or whatever, and they're like, okay, now you got my attention. Because these are the heady spices, the senses get engaged. And that is vital. And it's simple.
So easy.
So we talk around it because it really is so easy to make. So where do we start? So
we start with some cream and a bowl. So pro tip, if you're going to make this mousse, or any mousse, make sure that your bowl and your cream is cold. So pop it in the freezer before the time, not your cream in the fridge, bowl in the freezer if you can. Because the cold helps the fat in the cream to kind of like solidify, and then it gives you a fluffy mousse.
There we go.
So it's insane.
Kitchen hack number 1.
There we go, starting off strong.
Freeze your bowl, keep your cream really nice and cool and refrigerated. I love that. Clearly we've done that. I can feel the coldness coming from our bowl.
So do you want to whip it?
I do, I desperately do.
So we're just going to get soft peaks. Oh, you put the whisk on first and then in the bowl.
Listen, I've got 2 young kids. I'm used to stuff flying across our entire kitchen at home.
Yeah, we're nearly there. That's what I love about TV. It's like almost there.
I know. Well, thanks to Tiff and our amazing team behind the scenes who take us to number 99 every day.
I think that's fine,
that's all right.
Yeah, that's like soft peaks.
There we go. So just for the uninitiated, when we talk about peaks, what does soft peaks and hard peaks look like?
So if you lift, so let's just do this. So if you're going to do this, you can see it's a nice soft peak in the bowl. Can you see that?
Like a
so it's
beautiful
almost
little
like
mountain
floppy.
range.
Yeah, whereas with a hard peak, that's more for meringue. So it's not, you can like actually put it over your head and it shouldn't fall.
And it'll stay.
Which I would not. I would not.
Oh, we are definitely trying that in this kitchen at some point. I almost feel like keeping some of the cream so I can taste that on Ryle in just a moment. Okay, so we've got our soft peaks. What's next?
So now we're going to add some rose syrup. So this is what you use for faluda. So it's going to give it that flavor and that color. So we're just going to add that in. This is about 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
And then condensed milk.
All right.
So this is a 1/4 cup, but what I love about this recipe is you don't have to use all of this, or you can use more than this.
You can use as much as you want. I mean, you know,
not as much as you want, maybe just like half a cup.
Who's that person in your family that you've just had to put the governor on?
My sister-in-law. I hope she's watching this because she loves sleeping.
Shots fired. And I know you're not a big fan of sugar itself, but these are sweet treats. So let's get over ourselves for a moment here. You obviously do want that, but I also think there is such a beautiful richness of well-balanced flavors here that a little goes a long way.
Yeah, totally.
You don't want one element to overpower the others.
No, this is a perfect balance. And then obviously what brings it all together,
cardamom.
My favorite ingredient, cardamom. So we're just going to sprinkle that in.
And is this the headiest of most spices? It just feels like it's just something that engages the senses on another level.
It does, it does. And we're going to gently fold this in.
Because there's a savory element to this. It's difficult to know where this sits in the spice ecosystem because it's so rich. There's a headiness to it, as I say. Is it sweet? Is it savory? It's amazing.
Listen, if you come to my kitchen, it's going to be in all of my food. Cardamom is my number 1.
Really? No, I can get that, and I don't think you're alone. So I'm going to try and get this with the... Wow.
Yeah, before we put the
That is a freshness of notes.
So
The
this
rose.
is sorry. So this is gelatine that we
Okay.
bloomed with 2 tablespoons of water. We just let it sit for a bit because it needs to get, like you can see, this consistency.
So quite gelatinous.
Yeah. So I'm just going to stir it up a bit. So you add this to this and then whip it again, but
Okay.
sometimes you could get lumps. So I'm actually
Okay.
just going to take a little bit of this mixture,
Hack
put it
number
in.
2.
Yeah, and then give it a mix. And then you are going to whip it again for us.
Okay, I am. Now that I know.
Are you going to put it on first
that
again
I
before in the
can.
bowl?
I feel like now we've started to know. Now I've got creams, and seeing as we know that it's not a stiff peak, it's going to probably fly all over the place. So let's do this.
So we're just going to whip it for about 30 seconds.
Cool.
Maybe even less, just until it's combined. Because you want to get rid of that lumps, but you want to make sure that everything is nice and mixed together.
It's a mousse. It's not a
Yes.
big poofy meringue. Yeah.
Exactly.
How's that?
That looks perfect.
Thank you.
Such a pro.
I've learned from the best. I really have.
I hope you mean me.
And I can feel eyes rolling all over the studio as I say that. I think just from a presentation perspective, the colour is so beautiful.
Stunning, eh? And now we're going to pour it into glasses. But you know what? This is actually something my sister used to make often when I was younger. But, you know, she didn't use cardamom. That's something I love to use. So she just make it nice and plain. Because, you know, as a kid, you're just like...
Oh, simplistic, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I will spend 3 hours cooking for my kids and then they'll go for the 2-minute noodles.
Is it?
You know, it's just, I've learned this, okay? You've got to feel like you're failing on some level as a parent,
Yeah.
otherwise you're just not doing it right.
Yeah. So you could put this into individual glasses like we did and decorate it. But for Eid, this is actually a really great dessert for Eid. Put it in a bigger container and then make white chocolate shards. So you can put white chocolate on baking paper, roll it up, put it in the fridge, put it over. And then if you want to elevate it a little more, chocolate dipped strawberries.
Oh,
'Cause
get
white
out
chocolate,
of time.
yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But for now, we're just going to do nuts.
We'll put the governor on once again for your sister-in-law, just before we lose our heads. Absolutely amazing, beautiful stuff. If you missed any of these steps, as simple as it is, you can head over to expressoshow.com.
Yes.
We're going to round it off with maybe a few little
Yeah,
pistachios.
because this has to also go in the fridge. So we're going to set it for about an hour. But we have one that's already made.
And it looks absolutely exquisite. Hopefully
Yeah.
you guys can see there. And I've got a spoon for tasting, so I suppose I better. And I love the introduction of our pistachios. Just how beautiful does that look?
Yeah.
Because, as I said, I think there is something kind of sweet and savoury happening all at the same
Yeah.
time. I don't want to get too many pistachios to overpower.
So you'll see this one's a little bit darker than the one we made, and that's because you can add food colouring to just give it more intensity if you want. So play it out. You can even maybe do ombre layers, separate them into different bowls, add a little bit more in each one.
I like the
down.
idea of ombre because
Yeah.
there is a flavour journey. I suppose because you're engaging so many different sensory points through this, it really is an absolute journey and it is exquisite. It tastes beautiful. Thank you so much. You
Thank
are
you.
absolutely masterful at what you
Thank
do.
you.
Hopefully this has inspired you. Ramadan Mubarak. Hopefully
you.
this has given you just the culinary inspiration you need. I'm going in for another bite. I'm sorry, it's
Oh,
just too
do
good.
it.
Sorry, Ryle, this is gone, dude. It's all gone.